Brazil survived the ultimate heartbreak by the absolute skin of their teeth, and the entire footballing world is still trying to catch its breath. What we just witnessed wasn't just a football match, it was a 90-minute psychological thriller that nearly brought a definitive, agonizing end to the dreams of over 200 million people. For a moment, time stood still, the air left the room, and the giant of South American football looked directly into the abyss of elimination. But somehow, through pure grit, chaos, and a stroke of immense fortune, the Seleção managed to escape the trap. They are still alive in this tournament, but the warning signs are flashing red, and the cracks in this team can no longer be ignored by anyone. If you thought this was going to be an easy, majestic march to glory for the five-time world champions, you haven't been paying attention to how fragile this team can look under immense pressure. The expectation on this squad is always a heavy, suffocating weight, but what happened on the pitch went far beyond tactical breakdowns. This was a complete systemic scare, a moment where everything Brazil represents in football was pushed to its absolute limit by an opponent that refused to respect the jersey. We are going to break down exactly how close Brazil came to disaster, the critical mistakes that almost cost them everything, and why this narrow escape might either forge a championship mentality or completely break them in the next round. To understand the sheer magnitude of this escape, you have to look at the tactical trap Brazil walked right into. From the very first whistle, it was obvious that the opposition had done their homework, mapping out every single vulnerability in the Brazilian setup. They didn't try to outplay Brazil at their own game, instead, they suffocated the midfield, cut off the passing lanes to the wings, and dared the Seleção to find a creative solution. For large stretches of the match, Brazil looked completely devoid of ideas, recycling the ball sideways with a slow, predictable tempo that played right into the opponent's hands. The joy, the flair, the natural rhythm that usually defines Brazilian football was replaced by an anxious, heavy tension that you could feel through the screen. Then came the moment that changed everything, the massive scare that almost shattered the tournament. A defensive lapse, a split-second miscommunication at the back, and suddenly the ball was loose in the danger zone. The stadium fell dead silent as the opposition looked certain to capitalize on a golden, historic opportunity. It was the kind of nightmare scenario that ruins careers and defines generations of footballing failure. The ball seemed to move in slow motion, and for a fraction of a second, the dream of another World Cup trophy felt like it was slipping entirely out of reach. But football is a game of millimeters, and where there should have been a devastating blow, there was instead a chaotic, desperate salvation. Whether it was a miraculous reflex save, a last-ditch goal line clearance, or a shocking miss from the opposition, Brazil got the kind of luck that only belongs to teams destined to survive. It was an escape so narrow, so incredibly tense, that it felt more like a reprieve from a governor than a sporting victory. The players celebrated with a mixture of relief and exhaustion, knowing deep down that they had just played a high-stakes game of Russian roulette and somehow walked away unhurt. Yet, while the immediate reaction across Brazil is one of profound relief, the reality of this performance is going to trigger some incredibly harsh conversations back home. The pressure on this team doesn't just double after a match like this, it multiplies exponentially. Fans and pundits are not going to look at this survival as a triumph, they are going to look at it as a massive wake-up call that exposes the deep undercurrents of instability within the squad. The tactical rigidity, the sudden bursts of panic under pressure, and the heavy reliance on individual moments of magic rather than a cohesive team identity are all major red flags that top-tier European or South American opponents will exploit without mercy in the later stages. What does this terrifying result actually mean for Brazil's tournament hopes moving forward? Historically, a near-death experience in the group or early knockout stages can act as a powerful catalyst for a championship run. It strips away the arrogance, forces the technical staff to make tough, necessary adjustments, and instills a sense of urgency that you can't replicate in training. It proves to the players that nobody is going to hand them the trophy just because they wear the yellow shirt. If they take this lesson to heart, this scare could be the exact moment this squad hardens into a true, resilient collective capable of going all the way. However, there is a much darker alternative that the fans are terrified of. If these tactical errors and defensive vulnerabilities are not corrected immediately, this match will simply serve as the blueprint for how to eliminate Brazil. Future opponents now see a team that can be rattled, a midfield that can be disrupted, and a defensive unit that can lose focus when pressed with high intensity. The aura of invincibility is completely gone, replaced by a realization that this Brazilian side is highly vulnerable if you can survive their initial wave of talent and force them into a dogfight. The upcoming days are going to be defined by intense scrutiny, tactical adjustments, and an immense psychological test for every single player in that locker room. They kept the dream alive, but the margin for error has now shrunk to absolute zero. Every single pass, every defensive rotation, and every tactical decision from here on out will carry the weight of an entire nation's expectations, with the knowledge that they already used up their lifetime supply of luck in this tournament. The journey continues, but the path ahead looks steeper and more treacherous than ever before. Now, it is your turn to weigh in on this massive footballing drama. Do you think this terrifying escape is the wake-up call Brazil needed to finally go on and win the entire World Cup, or did this match just expose the fatal flaws that will guarantee their elimination in the very next round? Drop your thoughts, your tactical breakdowns, and your predictions in the comments section below because we want to see what you think about this performance. If you want to stay completely up to date with the biggest stories, breaking news, and deep dive analysis from this World Cup, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on notifications so you never miss a video, and smash the like button to support the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time as the drama of the World Cup continues to unfold.